Chelsea fans, after that embarrassing 2-1 defeat to Brighton last night in the FA Cup, Chelsea see themselves out of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, and it's only the first week of February. Things desperately need to change, and a lot of Chelsea fans who are Enzo Maresca in are slowly losing faith with him and starting to ask more and more questions. Me, myself, I'm still backing Enzo Maresca. I think he is good enough to do the job if there were a few tweaks to his game plan. However, I am starting to seriously question him. If things don't turn around soon, I feel like it's going to be hot water for Enzo Maresca. So in today's video, we're going over the 5 things that we learned from Brighton 2, Chelsea 1. Did you know that only 15.9% of you are currently subscribed to the channel? So if you are new, you're a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you leave a like on this video and subscribe. Join the community. We're on the road to 10k this year. And the first thing that I want to talk about is Christopher Nkunku. Where do we start with Christopher Nkunku? We know he is not a 9. He's been misprofiled time and time again. Enzo Maresca has even said repeatedly he is not a number 9. But at the start of the season, we had too many 10s. Too many 10s. And Enzo came out and said, look, the rotation for the 9 situation is Jackson and Nkunku. The rotation for the 10 role is Palmer and Felix. Well, guess what? Felix is gone. Felix goes to Milan, scores on his debut. We now have Jackson and Guiu injured. Hopefully Jackson's back for the next game this Friday against Brighton again at the Amex, but this time in the Premier League. So we had no option really than to play Nkunku. Now there were a lot of people on my live watch along on TikTok, people in the comment sections basically saying I'd rather play an academy player, because what does Nkunku actually offer? Nkunku, it might as well play with 10. Now I really like Nkunku. I think he's a technically gifted player. I think he's fantastic when he's utilised in his correct position, which is as a 10 really. As a 10 or a second striker. That's essentially how he made his name, how he got this reputation of being a finisher and link-up play and technical ability on the ball. Not at Chelsea. Not at Chelsea. There were times where he was pretty much level with our back line. Why is our 9 dropping and playing holding midfield to pick the ball up for pointless touches, little 5-yard passes? Couldn't hold the ball up. Link-up play was terrible. Doesn't press. He doesn't press at all. In a system that requires relentless intensity and pressure, pressing from the front, we saw nothing. Now, I'm not blaming Nkunku personally and saying like, oh, it's all your fault, because he is being mismanaged and misprofiled. However, when you are played in a role that isn't your natural role, I would agree that it's probably twice as hard to play, because you're not naturally playing your position. You're trying to do another job, but you still try and do that job. And it looked like Nkunku just didn't want to be there. He wants to go, he wants out, he wanted Bayern in the January transfer window. We didn't give it to him, we outpriced him, no one wants to buy him. Of course they don't want to buy him because he's either been injured or performing poorly on the pitch. Now there have been moments this season where he's played well, I'm not saying that there hasn't been. But last night, mate, it was criminal. We might as well play with 10. We might as well play with 10. It's a massive red box for Nkunku. Yeah, let's get on to the next one. The second thing I want to talk about is Malo Gusto. Huge red box of Malo Gusto. I have no idea what's going on with him this season. What is going on with Malo Gusto this season? Can someone please in the comments explain to me what is going on with Malo Gusto? Because last season he was fantastic. I think it was his debut season. Yes, it was a different system, different manager. It was quite new and exciting. This team really hadn't played together. But he bagged 8 assists. He could actually defend. He wasn't caught out of possession. He wasn't caught out of position. He wasn't acting lazy. He wasn't acting lazy at all last season. Last night, it's like he didn't want to be there. Again, another player. Constantly caught on the ball, couldn't control the ball, couldn't make a pass, constantly found out defensively in the wrong positions, time and time again last night. Every time Gusto's getting an opportunity, I'm like, I like Gusto. I think he's a good player, especially off the back of last season. This season, he has been awful. He's been woeful. Such a bad performance from Gusto. Really, really was. Just couldn't help the back line at all. And it was like... I understand Reece James is being dropped, or sorry, that's probably the wrong word, rested to manage his minutes, keep him fit. He took a bit of a knock in training, cool. Enzo said that, and I totally agree. Yeah, you don't want to risk it, man. Play Ashimpong. Ashimpong gives everything for the shirt. He's 18 years old. He's got the hunger to play for that first team. He's part of the first team squad. Utilise him, because Gusto, I don't know what you're seeing in training, Enzo, but surely that's not good enough for what you're expecting as a manager for the players to do on the pitch. Shocking performance from Gusto. Massive red box. The third thing I want to talk about is Enzo Maresca's game plan, his tactics, the way we are currently setting up and playing. Massive red box. Needs to change. You need to adapt. Stop being so stubborn, Enzo, and realise that the Premier League is a different beast. Pep Guardiola, everyone, there seems to be a clone of him and what he wants to do. But do you know what Pep actually does that everyone seems to overlook? Is he adapts to the games to his opponents. He doesn't have this new rule where he's like, I don't care how they set up. I don't care how they play. We're playing our football. That's it. There is someone else in the Premier League doing that. His name's Ange Postecoglou. And where are they in the table? Now, I know that this is the FA Cup, but it seemed like we threw that game. You don't throw the FA Cup. The FA Cup, I think it's the oldest major trophy in English football, period. I believe. I think the Paint Trophy is at a similar age. But regardless, the FA Cup is a magical cup. To go out in the 4th round for a performance like that is ridiculous. And it's because of the way we set up. It's because of the way we set up. Sideways passing. Constantly going backwards. Attackers that aren't staying high and wide. And if they do, they're not beating their man. They get the ball, they pass it backwards. They play it safe. They play it safe. I really like Sancho. I really like Neto. I think they're fantastic players when things are going their way. But when things aren't going their way, like they haven't been for the last 5, 6, 7 games, what's the point of having them on the pitch, mate? What is the point of having them on the pitch? And not only that, look at our bench last night. Who was going to come off that bench and save us? I think you had like 4 defenders on the bench. Obviously, you normally have a goalkeeper, so fair enough. But what? The attacking threat is like for like. It's Madueke to come on. It's Enzo to come on, who you're trying to rest for a game like that and play KDH. We won't get into that. I think KDH actually had a pretty decent game for the time that he played, despite unpopular opinion for a lot of people. Think he's not great. His overall level, I agree. But last night, I think he was actually one of our better players. What are we doing? What are we doing? Teams are now setting up the same way against us. They know exactly how to stop us from scoring and how to counter on us and how to pick up 3 points or knock us out of tournaments. It is so predictable. It is so predictable the way that we are playing, and Enzo needs to adapt. He needs to adapt. Now, this isn't all on Enzo, okay? Because, like I said, it's a football pyramid of Chelsea Football Club from the owners all the way down. This January transfer window, whack. Minus 10 out of 10. Horrible. We actually weakened our squad in this window, and that doesn't help Enzo. Doesn't help him at all. All right, you can also argue that the striking injuries, unfortunate. Two strikers get injured in one game. Of course it would only happen to us. But that doesn't mean that you can't change things to adapt people's strengths and play a different system when you're playing different opponents. Brighton wanted it more than us. It's not like the players are down tools. They're disheartened. They're not inspired by this at the moment. You look at the last few months. We've been woeful. In the games we have won, we've been lucky. We're lucky to win these games because either we've had a fairly decent defensive display, we've been given goals, or we've scored them early, and the other teams just haven't set up the way that people like Brighton did last night, which was just put everyone in the box, hit them on the counter. What are you going to do about it? Because we just soak everyone in. We go sideways, 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 backwards, 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 sideways, 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 backwards, backwards, backwards. No penetration through the middle. We're whipping in balls with no striker in there. Why are we whipping in balls for someone like Nkunku? It's not going to win headers. He's not known for his aerial ability. But we'll just keep whipping the ball in there to no one and just, at least we can say that we were crossing the ball. It genuinely makes no sense. Now, like I said in the intro of this video, I still back Enzo. I do think he's good enough to take us to the next level. If he tweaks his game, if he stops being so stubborn, if we actually go into the market and strengthen our squad. Do you know who would have been perfect for a game like last night? João Felix, the person we just let go. He can play as a false 9. He can play as a centre forward and drop deep. He would have been a better option than Nkunku, who doesn't play as a 9, who isn't a 9 by Enzo's standards, by Enzo's words in press conferences. It really needs to change. Massive red box. Now, yes, the players do also have an accountability side of things. They also have to step up and try and deliver what they're being coached in the week of training. But last night, it's like we didn't want to be there. It was a repeat of the Newcastle game in the Carabao Cup. And quite frankly, that's not acceptable. You don't throw away the FA Cup. You do not throw away the FA Cup because you want to focus on the Premier League and Conference League. What a cop-out. We've got 2 squads, an A team and a B team, regardless if that's what you want to call them. And you want to go out of the domestic cups this year because you want to focus on 4th place in the Premier League, which, yes, currently I think we're still in, on a technicality maybe, because we've got level on points or whatever. We're in and around the fight for sure, because we're into the next stages of the Conference League, which doesn't start till mid-March. Cool. You can still focus on those, but you still want to do your best in the domestic trophies because we have a wham squad. And to say that we can't be competing in all of these competitions at once with a squad size of a small school is ridiculous. So this is becoming an Enzo Maresca rant. I don't want it to be. But massive red box for him. Things need to massively change or the fans are going to slowly start turning on him. A lot of fans already have. Because of the last 2-3 years that we've had. And we've had to endure a lot of stuff. Now, like I said, I think Enzo Maresca has actually improved us. We are sitting in 4th this time last year in the league. We were 12th, 13th. It's a massive difference, right? And also this year, everyone has beaten everyone. It's a very competitive Premier League this year. I think people also overlook that. But things need to massively change because the way we're setting up is so predictable. Teams know exactly how to beat us. It's just a lot. The fourth thing I want to talk about is our wingers. Now, this is not a personal attack on an individual winger like Sancho or Neto or Madueke. This is a collective. The way we are using our wingers, it is not good enough. It does not make any sense. It might, in theory, on paper, on a tactician board, yes, cool. But we're not delivering. We're not actually potent. We're not beating our man. We're not creating the chance. We're not even shooting. Every time they get the ball, they go, we've got no one in the middle. Let's go backwards. Let's go backwards. Let's go sideways. Let's go backwards. Neto loves running into space. And I feel like last night he was the more dangerous of our wingers. Tyreek George, come on, tried doing something. I rate it. I respect it. He's hungry for first-team football. He's a great player. Sancho, I like Sancho. I think he's very gifted. Look at the start of the season he had. But come on, man, you need to step up. You need to step up. Like, you're the safest attacker I think the Premier League's ever seen. You do this whole stuttery thing and then just pass it backwards. Stuttery thing, pass it sideways. What's the easy option? Beat your man. That's what you're there to do. Touch the sidelines, beat your man, get in the box, create something, take a shot, take a risk. I'd rather you take a shot and miss than just play a simple 5-yard ball and then it ends up back at the goalkeeper because everyone's got the same thought process. It's the same on the other side. People moan and use Madueke as a scapegoat. And I get it, he's frustrating to watch. But he's the only winger out of the collection of wingers we've got, probably bar Tyreek George as well, but he only gets limited minutes, that executes what Enzo wants. Stay high and wide, beat your man, get the ball in the box. The problem with Madueke is he is too one-dimensional. You know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to run down the wing, cut in left foot, cut in left foot. You're not Iron Robin, it ain't going to work. Sorry, it's not. So you need to step up and just have another dynamic to your game or just use your right foot. How about that? Same with Pedro Neto. We know exactly what he's going to do. Now, he can use both feet and he can play both sides. Like I say, I like Neto. When things go his way, he's a fantastic winger. Deadly, potent, penetrates, pace for days. But in the last 4, 5, maybe 6, even pushing 7 performances, our wingers collectively have been poor. Massive red box. And before we get into the fifth and final thing that we learned from Brighton 2, Chelsea 1, I have one honourable mention. And that honourable mention is Moises Caicedo. This guy gets the biggest green box I could ever make in terms of a colour code. Because, yes, he wasn't amazing last night. He was outstandingly our best player in a shower of poo. Like, he was class. He honestly was. And again, I'm not saying that he was like a world-class performance, but when you're surrounded by poo and he's literally left on his own, isolated, doing all the dirty work, all the hard work, you have to rate it, man, because he's one of our... You've got Palmer and Caicedo, 2 world-class players in our squad, arguably, right? Palmer doesn't play well. We don't seem to create anything. Caicedo don't play well. We fold like deck chairs. But the thing is, if Caicedo plays amazing and everyone else plays, we fold like deck chairs. So he's kind of at a loss, really. But every game, without fail, he plays with his heart on the sleeve. He plays for Chelsea Football Club. He wants to be there. He will always put a shift in, making challenges, making it at least a little bit more difficult in that midfield for the opposition. So he has to get a green box. I just feel sorry for the bloke because he's putting a shift in and he must look around and go, is anyone else going to do anything? Anyone else going to do anything, or do you want me to do absolutely everything every single week, every single minute? Because there's no one to replace me. I can't be rested. Yes, I've got a great engine. I think he's worth every single penny, and we should be very grateful that he puts in the performances that he does. And that's just my honest opinion. That's my honest opinion. Caicedo for me gets a green box because even with a poor performance, he was still miles better than every single person on that pitch tonight. While recording this, I've actually come up with a second honourable mention, and that is Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer gets a red box. And there's a lot of people who have been telling me in recent performances, especially over the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks, Palmer ghosting games, Palmer isn't good enough, Palmer's dropping, blah, 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 blah. And I hear it. And I don't think it's solely his fault. But at this point, it has to be addressed that Cole Palmer cannot do everything on his own. He is being blocked out of every single game because he plays centrally, and every opposition puts a box of players around him. It is increasingly difficult. And again, Palmer's just going sideways. He's got no options. He's got no penetration going forward unless he has a bit of space. He's not getting that space because it's easily read from the opposition. His performances have now dropped to the shower of poo around him. And it's about time it happened, because we can't just go, give it to Cole, see what happens. Give it to Cole, see what happens. Because if he doesn't create something, nothing happens. We just lose. We look like we don't want to be there. We look like we're down tools. Now, I'm not saying that it's all on Cole Palmer, because it's not fair. It's not fair to have a player and go, just give him the ball, see what happens. Because when it doesn't work, it backfires. But honestly, his performances have dropped, and I'm not surprised, because he's also probably looking around going, well, you lot ain't trying, so what's the point? No one else is putting in a shift. I've got no options. I can't do anything. Gets the ball, gets tackled. Tries to play a pass, people aren't there. Now, yes, he caused the first goal. It's not his goal, though. He just tried crossing the ball, which is the right thing to do. Obviously, again, when he does get that moment where he can create something, 9 times out of 10 he does. I'm very grateful that he does. But overall, his performances in the last 5-6 weeks really dropped off a cliff, and it's just become level with everyone else who's playing like poo. So it needs to be addressed. It's not to say he's horrendous, get him out of my club. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it has to be highlighted that he has been very poor in the last few games. And even when we've won, he's caused two own goals in 2 games, right? And yes, he's forced those errors. So cool, yeah, he's done well in that sense. But if you take the whole 90, it's just not being Cole Palmer. And I think it's the system. I think it's the mentality of the squad right now. And it's just the way that we are playing that is just demotivating these players. It genuinely looks like they're down tools. And if Cole Palmer can't save us, then what are we going to do? Just something to think about, that's all. So unfortunately, Cole Palmer gets a red box for me. And the 5th and final thing that we learned from Brighton 2, Chelsea 1 is our ownership needs to sort their life out. Massive red box. Massive red box from the owners, mate. What are they doing? What are they doing? This is going to go back to the January transfer window specifically. You've weakened our squad. You've got this weird obsession with kids. Weird obsession. You signed a 19-year-old who sat on the bench last night and he wasn't going to come off and save us because you come out and told us he's not there to play minutes. He's not there to play minutes. He's here just to kick a ball about, learn a little bit of what we do, go Strasbourg in the summer. What? I do a Chelsea news roundup every day on TikTok and also here on YouTube Shorts. And every time I'm going through the news, it's, Chelsea are linked with a newborn child that's just burped for the first time. 17-year deal. What is going on? I understand you want to keep planning for the future. And I understand the model is buy cheap, develop them, sell them for more. Or buy cheap, keep them, keep loaning them out, and then eventually they'll make more money because they're a depreciating asset on the books over time. I get that that's the model. Roman Abramovich used to do the same thing. But you know what Roman Abramovich also did? Is he focused on the now. He focused on the now. And there is a really well-detailed YouTube video about the history of Chelsea's loan system, which started with Roman. He basically went, right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to sign everyone, really put money into the academy, loan people out, spread the costs, and again, we can sell them for profit. And he did it in the background. So yes, you had people like Drogba, Anelka, Fernando Torres, Ashley Cole, all these players that these youngsters were never going to get in the first team over, which means the likes of Mohamed Salah, Kevin De Bruyne that we've bought in, Romelu Lukaku the first time. Incredible talents, weren't going to get in that first team. We sell them on, we make money. They go on to become world beaters. It's just game's the game. We're still winning trophies in the meantime. So at the time, we don't miss them. Whereas now, it's like, no, don't worry about the first team squad. Everything's on fire. Don't worry. 3 years' time, we'll sell these 12-year-olds and we'll make loads of money. What are you going to do with it? Is it just to line your pockets, or is it so you can go spend 150 million on Isak in the summer? Because it's probably not. You'll probably go buy another striker that's kicked the ball 12 times in their back garden and you'll go, yeah, he'll do, 40 million. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know any other club that's gone through a window that's weakened their squad in every sense of the word, when they know the glaring improvements that need to be made, which is a goalkeeper, a centre-back. We need some cover in that 6th position to actually give Caicedo a second to breathe, and a centre-forward. That's what we need. They've even come out and said, we're well aware of it, summer's going to be a big one. Why not address some of them now? Well, yes, we recalled Trevor Chalobah. Well done. Shouldn't have loaned him out in the first place. Still need to improve. You've loaned out João Felix, and literally within 2 games, we're like, you could have done with him. What's going on? And obviously, there's this theory that João Felix is a PSR move. Cool, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But at the same time, utilise him. Play him. When players aren't playing well, take them out of the squad. We have about 400 players. Surely one of them is good enough to play for us. And when we do need to strengthen in key areas, actually go into the market for the now, not the 20 years time, not the 4 years time, not the next window time, for now, and go, all right, cool. If we want to be competing for top 4, we want to win the Conference League, we want to go far in the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, whatever competition it is, or we really need a centre-back. Right, we've got pots of money, pretty much unlimited funds. Who's available? Mark Gahey, 70, 80 million. It's a bit steep. But you know what? We need a centre-back. Pay the money. Now, I may sound like an entitled fan. I've been watching my club for over 25 years. I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. Right? I saw in my lifetime, the brief end phase of Ken Bates, Roman Abramovich, and now Todd Boehly and Clear Lake. And yes, there's been ups and downs, and we've been very successful in that time. And I'm extremely grateful to witness that. Never thought in my lifetime I'd see my club win the Champions League, let alone 2. It's incredible, right? And if we don't win it ever, and I'm on my deathbed, I get to say to my child, do you know how lucky I was to see my football club win the 2 Champions Leagues? Regardless, they always dealt with the now and the future. They went, now is more important because we need to compete with Arsenal, United, Liverpool, City, all these people. The Champions League. How can we be like Real Madrid and Barcelona and always get to a certain stage of the Champions League? That's what they were doing. And in the background, they went, we found this kid from South America. Looks good for the future. All right, cool. Go send someone out. Look at him for a while. We'll snap him up. We'll see what we can do. But we don't want to integrate him into the first team until he's 100% ready. Now, the summer looks exciting for Chelsea. It needs to be a big clear out. And we need to be adding some players. We've got Esteval Paez coming. That'd be cool. Paez will probably go out on loan. Everyone's screaming for Esteval to start straight away. I don't think he will. I think Esteval will be a rotation player until he adapts to the English game, and then he'll become a first-team player because his skill is unbelievable. But the owners need to sort it out. This is, again, it's becoming a rant. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but the owners need to sort their life out. We need to improve now. Worry about the future. We spent £1.5 billion, and this is the squad that we have that cannot compete against Brighton away in the 4th round of the FA Cup and goes out early stages of the Carabao Cup to Newcastle because we've just decided to throw the games away. It's just not good enough. It's not good enough. So those are the 5 things that we learned from Brighton 2, Chelsea 1. As you can tell, it was pretty much a rant video, but I feel like these things need to be said. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are there things I've missed? Are there things that I've covered that you like? I love having a conversation with you guys, so please, I would love to know your thoughts. Hit me up in the comment section. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, there'll be a thumbnail that pops up on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail, because you'll enjoy that video too.